name is Stephen Miller. I'm 29 years old. I have a 40-hour work week, Monday through Friday. I'm a geologist and I work for an environmental consulting company. Well, Vescar is, a regular old Bengal tiger, with black stripes, white and orangish brown fur. He represents me in general. He's more outgoing than I am and more adventurous. He's not really afraid to do anything, as opposed to me where I'm a little more hesitant to do some things. I'm more interactive with people when I'm in the costume compared to outside the costume. I'm more reserved with what I do and what I interact. Maybe more hesitant because I'm like, oh, would they want me to do this? Do they not want to? But when you're in character, you can just, I wouldn't say do whatever you want, but you can act more silly.
Welcome to S.J. Stoma Park. We're at the pavilion today at AFM. You ready? Let's go.
AFM is Arlington Fur Meet in Arlington, Texas. It's held once a month, the second Sunday of the month, and it's at a park, and we can get up to maybe 120, 130 furries at once gathering, of all ages. It's a place to hang out with like-minded people. Some do art, some play card games, some play sports.
Had an affinity to tigers. I've always liked them. They're my favorite animal, and it just only made sense. There's a couple things in common, tigers can be in in pairs or solid by themselves, and I can have fun with myself, or well, not in that way, but have fun on my own or in groups of people.
I'm Michelle, but I go by Nibbles Wargie, or Nibbles Cornelius Wargie. I am a corgi wolf. Well, in the beginning I thought I was a coyote. Then I figured out I'm more happy than a coyote. I'm more yippy, I'm more excited, I'm more more like a corgi because they're always derpy and do silly things and they're cute. I also have a connection with wolves. I am very loyal and I just feel like one inside, so they kind of mix together and I just created my fursona. People come about their fursonas in several different ways. They could maybe just start out with Sonic and be like, hey, I like hedgehogs. Maybe I can make a character that's Sonic the Hedgehog, or maybe they like dragons a lot. For me, I just feel like in my past life, I was truly a canine. I always have the urge to bark and howl at moons for some reason. Meditating is a way to find yourself. If you meditate long enough, you can get to a point where you see yourself in a different world. And you see yourself, you look down, and you're a different thing. You're like an animal or someone you didn't think you were that you can change yourself into, because that's your true person. When I was little, I'd always draw things. I love drawing. I just always loved drawing. And it was just my thing. So whenever I got into the furry fandom, it was really easy for me to just make some cool art. I was familiar with anthropomorphic animals because I had grown up on things like Disney movies and cartoons like Dragon Tales and stuff like that. And it really I thought it was really cool, and then I saw fursuits and I was like, wow, you can act like an animal and be yourself and be funny.
The boy meetup is actually a once a month meetup as well, on I think the last Sunday of every month, and it's where a bunch of furries come, whether in suit or they don't have a suit, and we bowl and hang out pretty much. It's pretty straightforward,
How are you? Give me another hug.
No one really seems to mind it. Most people are interested or indifferent.
Charles.
love it was something different. You know, the other bowlers, you know, got a kick out of watching them. You know, and then they started bringing in little kids, and you know, some of them wanted to take pictures. It was kind of a nice change of pace. It really was. It's very different because of the costumes, and they seem to have a nice time, and just, you know, it's basically the same. The only difference is the costumes, you know.
Texas Furry Fiesta is a furry convention, and where furries and people who like furries can go and hang out, meet new friends, go to panels and shows, buy stuff from the dealer's den, go to the art show, artist alley.
I sell squeaky toys. So there's little ones that you can just hang on your badge. There are bigger ones that a lot of fursuiters will actually use for like prop if they want to act with it. You can also take out the squeaky in the small big ones. You can put it in your mouth. And you can talk like that. It's a way to make money. It's a way to make money off their art. It's a way to meet other people, meet other artists. The competition is always good. The staff here does a very good job of making sure that it's fair and that it is a good variety for the people at the con to not have the same thing over and over again, not have the same people all the time. They like to switch it out every once in a while. Just
So I'm Dr. Courtney Pont. I go by Nuka in the fandom. So this research is part of the International Anthropomorphic Research Project. We're a team of psychologists who've been studying furries for the last few years. So one of the most interesting things that we found about the furry fandom is that despite the fact that it looks a little strange or looks a little unusual, furries are actually remarkably well adjusted. The fandom provides them with a social support network that actually is pretty healthy for people. So they get along well, they make friends, they have social support, and that helps them get by in day-to-day life. Furries are actually 6 to 7 times more likely to be gay than the general population. We're still looking into why that may be the case, but we think that part of the reason is because the fandom is such an open and accepting place. It makes it sort of inviting for people who are members of this community to sort of come out as bisexual or gay, something that you may not get to do in the general population.
A lot of people who are kind of shy and reserved, but then once they get in that fursuit, if they have one, they open up pretty quickly. Since there's a lot more people who are accepting of it, it's a lot easier to be open with yourself and with others about things you normally wouldn't be open to. For instance, at work, I told no one my sexuality because they don't need to know necessarily.
Furries have no judgmental things. Like, you go to a fur con, there could be a guy in a skirt and everybody would be like, "Hey, what's up, guy?" And I cannot be myself around normal people because society has messed us up so much to where we can't even be ourselves anymore. We have to be what's called normal. It starts with probably body type and how you act, which is there's a certain standard of how you can't do anything that makes you sound like a psycho, or I want to be an animal. That sounds psycho to people. There's always going to be people that are mean, but most furs are really, really inviting and nice. And they don't really care what you are. They just want to be your friend and they just want to hug you.
So did you make this? The suit? Yeah. Oh, that is amazing.
It's all there. The goal behind it is to raise money for this charity called CARE, a big cat sanctuary in Bridgeport, Texas, and we do it every year, and they seem to really appreciate us and what we do.
My name is Derek Cron. I'm the current operations director of the Center for Animal Research and Education. We're a nonprofit big cat sanctuary just to the west of Fort Worth. At the first Furry Fiesta convention, way back in the day, we actually got contacted by some of the staff members asking if we wanted to come along and be the sponsored charity. And at the time, we didn't know anything about the Furry Fiesta. We didn't know anything about the convention. We didn't know anything about the furry fandom. So, you know, it was like a really interesting and eye-opening experience that first year. But it was pretty cool. It was pretty amazing, like being introduced into this very unique culture. The past couple of years, we've been receiving in excess of $15,000 from this one event, just one weekend, which is pretty phenomenal. I mean, the fact that everyone is able to come together and they're able to support the facility so greatly, it's such a huge thing.
I volunteer in an animal shelter. It's called Operation Kindness. I volunteer there. I started a couple of years ago. You know, I just had some extra time and I decided why not help the animals. And my work does a thing where for every 20 hours I volunteer, they'll donate $100 to charity I choose. So I'm an animal person. Like all the charities I donate my time and money to are pretty much animals because, you know, when it comes to people and animals, it seems that more people are willing to donate to people charities than animal charities, and so I feel like they get neglected. I mean, not necessarily neglected completely, but you know, they don't get near as much money as, say, cancer charities or, you know. Generally, the average person that I see tends to be more indifferent to it. I haven't really had any bad reactions to fursuiting in general. There's a lot of people who have just a bad normal perception of furries in general because they just don't know really about us. They're more open about their sexual adult side, but I don't see them doing it a lot more than any other fandom usually does it. It's just perceived as that because, you know, they always catch on to the bad things, which makes the news or makes it more interesting, so that's why it comes up a lot more. You know, things are changing all the time. New people are entering the fandom. People are, you know, leaving the active fandom, if that makes sense. So it's just good to have fun, meet friends and stuff. I think it's important just in general to have fun in life. You know, life's too short to, you know, not have fun.